Peer reviews allow students to read and give feedback on each other's work. It's a great way to move students from simply commenting on their classmates' thoughts in a discussion to actively critiquing their work and providing and receiving constructive feedback. Just a little side note here. From the research I've done on using peer reviews in discussions, it does seem that the process can be rather confusing for students. A common issue is having students accidentally write their peer review as a reply in the discussion thread, rather than clicking the Review Now link in the notification at the top of the screen. This will make it look to the instructor like the student hasn't done a review, when really it was just put in the wrong place. There are some other issues, including having to manually assign reviews for students who turned in their discussion posts late, or reassign peer reviews for students who were assigned to a classmate who didn't post. This isn't meant to discourage anyone from doing peer reviews, but you may want to consider having the students submit the work you want to be reviewed as an assignment. This process is a lot clearer cut and will be covered in a separate video. And if you want to stick with having students do peer reviews in discussions, help to prevent confusion by providing a link to Canvas's peer review directions for students, which can be found in the Student Files folder in this course, and giving a very thorough explanation of the requirements in the description of the discussion. The example I'll be using today is a discussion that I already created. To get back into it, to set it up for peer reviews, I'll need to either click on the Discussions tab or go to the module where the discussion is and click on the name of the discussion and then click the Edit button. So I've already set the topic and the directions and the description for this particular discussion, but if you have specific expectations for what type of feedback you want students to provide in their reviews, you should list them in the discussion description. Providing the due date for the initial post and the secondary due date for the peer review here is also advised. So let's look at my settings. Some of them have already been set up. But the one thing that you have to make sure of is that you have checked the graded discussion box. Only graded discussions can have peer reviews assigned to them. So now that I've clicked the graded box, I can scroll down and I have the option to check the Require Peer Reviews box. Here you must decide whether you want to manually assign the peer reviews or have Canvas do it for you automatically. One thing to think about is that you can only require students to post before they can see the posts of others when you choose the automatic option. If you manually assign the peer review, then the students can review their assigned other person's post before they've posted themselves. When a peer review is assigned automatically or by you, the students will see a notification in their dashboard activity stream and will also receive a notification email. If you want to manually assign the peer reviews, all you need to do for now is check this box. If you want to have the system do it for you, you will also need to designate how many reviews you want each user to complete and designate a date when you want Canvas to assign peer reviews to the students. It has to be a date after the discussion due date. If you leave it blank, the due date will be used as the date that the peer reviews are assigned. You may want to consider making the peer review date a day after the due date. This way, anyone who submits their post a little late will still be automatically assigned a peer reviewer. Otherwise, you'll have to go in and do it yourself if the student turns in their work late. Make sure you click Save when you're done with the settings. If you have chosen to manually assign peer reviews, you'll need to go up to the kebab in the upper right-hand corner of that discussion and click on the Peer Reviews button. Here you'll see a list of your students. Click on the plus sign next to Assign Another Review. Select a student's name from the drop-down menu. Notice that that student's name is grayed out. And click Add. You can access peer reviews through SpeedGrader to see them, but an easier way is to click on the kebab for the discussion again and click on Peer Reviews. From here you can easily see who was assigned to whom, and you can see a check mark next to the name of each person who has completed their review, and an exclamation point next to anyone who has not. So we can see that Jane Balow completed her review for Guy Burnett's work, and we can see that Natalie Baker did not do hers yet for Rebecca Berardi. By clicking on this alarm bell, you can send a reminder to a student to let them know that they need to complete their review. To see all of a student's posts for the discussion and view the peer review of their work, click on the student's name. From here, I can see all of Natalie Baker's posts and Guy Burnett's peer review on the right. There isn't a built-in place to put points for a peer review, so if you want to grade the peer reviews, I would suggest either making the review part of the grade for the discussion or creating a separate no submission assignment and putting the points in the gradebook manually. I can imagine trying to add points to the discussion grade for peer reviews might be cumbersome because you're looking at the student whose work was being reviewed and you can't assign the reviewer points from here. So it might be easier to go low tech on this one initially and record the grades on paper and then input them into the Canvas gradebook.